Welcome one and all, Nyanko here, and today I am going to be talking about a anime that I watched, actually, that helped me learn Spanish back in the day, called Mermaid Melody. So I moved to Spain when I was a teenager, and well, actually before I was a teenager, and then lived in Spain through the early part of my teenage years, and then moved to Ireland for my latter teenage years. And one of the things that I was told to do in Spain was watch TV, but not to watch English language TV that had been dubbed into Spanish. I was told to watch animated shows that were dubbed into Spanish, and to watch like Spanish telenovelas and stuff like that. So I ended up loving some of the shows that I watched, and it was actually what really solidified for me my love of anime. Was mainly through the Spanish side of things, which is how I got into shows like Bleach and Naruto and Bakugan and Inuyasha and Tsubasa. There was more. There was Sergeant Frog and all of those ones, but the one that really hit me was Mermaid Melody. Now, if you don't know what Mermaid Melody is, it's a show about 7 mermaid princesses who, using the power of their pearls, transform into idols and sing love songs to defeat the bad guys who sing like anti-love songs. It is very childish and very kiddish. It's great for preteens and like young teenagers. I still have like a special place in my heart for it, and I still watch it occasionally from time to time to keep my Spanish going. And just because it's nostalgic for me. I haven't actually watched it in anything other than Spanish, so I probably do need to watch it in Japanese just to see the difference. But they dubbed all of the songs as well, which I thought was really cool. And I used to like record them onto my phone and have them as my ringtone. That and the Naruto openings. Yeah, I was a bit of a geek. Just a bit, just a tiny bit. So yeah, basically the story of Mermaid Melody mainly focuses on Lucia Nanami, who is the pink pearl princess, even though she has blonde hair. And then she kind of teams up with Hanon Hoshino, the aquamarine pearl princess, and Rina, I forget her last name, but it'll be there, the green pearl princess. And they kind of form like a little idol group, and they have to sing against the forces of Gaito and his like evil underlings to save the ocean world, basically. And along the way, Rina is trying to save Noelle, who is the Antarctic princess. So she's the indigo pearl. And then they also meet Karen, who is the Antarctic. Wait, she the Antarctic and Noelle is the Arctic. They're twins anyway, so you've got Noelle and you've got Karen, who are they're the twin pearls because they're the 2 poles. So one is the Antarctic and one is the Arctic, and I will put it underneath them in editing because I always get confused who is who. I know Noelle is the indigo pearl voice anyway, and I know Karen is the purple or the violet pearl voice, or the purple, it depends. Noelle is my favourite, and I have actually cosplayed her and I love her, and she does not get enough screen time for my liking. And then we also meet Coco, who is the yellow pearl voice, and I think I forget which sea she is, she's one of them. And then we meet Sarah, who is the orange pearl, but also she's kind of gone dark, so technically she's black. Now I know in the manga she is actually the black pearl voice when she like locks her heart away, and then she goes back to being the orange, and they kind of leave that out of the anime. So to be fair to the anime, it is very loosely based on the events of the manga. It kind of keeps all the characters. It kind of keeps the first arc of Gaito and his Madubarbs, and then I haven't finished the manga, so I'm not fully sure on how the manga ends. But the manga is only in Japanese, and if you can get a copy of the English version, they're hella expensive. It was like 25 euros for like a copy because it's out of print, and I managed to get the entirety in Japanese for like 40 quid. And then I think I had to pay customs on it and stuff and get it shipped. So it was like 60 for all of them in total, which is a bit pricey, but considering I wasn't willing to pay 25 a volume to get it in English, I was like, I will just buy it and I will slowly make my way through it. Now, to be fair to Mermaid Melody, it's great language-wise if you're trying to learn Japanese, or if you're watching it in a language that isn't English, or say if you're in you're Japanese and you want to learn another language and it's say in Spanish. I think it's in Italian as well. I don't know the full list that it's been dubbed into, but I do know it was supposed to get an English dub, but then it fell through and that really saddened me. But I really like the Spanish dub, and I happen to be very content to just keep watching it in that, and I will eventually get around to watching it in Japanese as well. So yeah, wow, that was a tangent and I forgot my original point. But oh yeah, okay, so Sarah, and she's the black pearl voice to the orange pearl voice, and yeah, so everyone kind of also has a love interest as well throughout it. So Lucia's love interest is Kaito, who is like a bit of an ass, but she met him when she was like 7, and then she gave him her pearl to save his life because there was a big tidal wave that capsized his ship and he nearly died, and Lucia saves him. Now, you do learn later on that capsizing wave was actually caused by Sarah's heart being broken from Tara, who was her love interest, who then also kind of becomes the love interest of Hanon. And Hanon falls in love with him because he's her music teacher. But nothing comes of that, thank God. But then she ends up with her own little love interest who loves her back, called Nagisa. Rina has a love interest, I think, Masahiro. I'm going to put things up. Karen ends up getting a love interest with Subaru, but that doesn't really take anything. Noelle doesn't get a love interest, funnily enough, and neither does Coco. And then Sarah's love interest ends up being Gaito, and they end up together. And then the events of Pitchi Pitchi Pitch, Mermaid Melody Pitchi Pitchi Pitch happen, which is like technically the second series of the show, and we get a new orange pearl princess because spoilers, people die. So yeah, and then Pitchi Pitchi Pitch happens. Mermaid Melody Pitchi Pitchi Pitch, and it sounds like he's summoning a cat. Perfect for me. Yeah, and then the second series comes around, and all of the princesses are now kind of together, but then the new bad guy comes in and is like an angel. But then Kaito kind of loses his memories of what happened in the first season, and then Lucia has the whole angst of my one true love doesn't remember me, blah blah blah. And again, this time round the big bad has stolen Sarah's soul, so the reincarnation of the Orange Pearl Princess, and the main focus of the second series is they all have to go around and battle the bad guy to get back parts of Sarah's soul to make her whole again and then resummon her. So that's season 2. And yeah, it was just fun. It was cute. It kept my like 13, 14-year-old brain very engaged, and it was like, oh, I love this so much. Because they're kind of around the same age as I was at that point, so like they're like 13, 14. Oh wait, no, they were 12, 13. Was it 13 or 14? I forget. But they're in school anyway, and they were roughly my age, although they do look a lot older because of the figures. So I'd say they're about 13, to be fair. Like Lucia's like the youngest at 13. And yeah, you know, it goes along. So like Rina, when she first comes in, doesn't want to be friends with anyone ever again because Noelle sacrificed herself to push Rina out of the way, and that's how she got captured. And Coco got captured because she tried to follow Sarah when she went dark and joined up with Gaito and tried to like convince her to come back to the light side and become good kind of thing again, and that's how she got captured. I don't think anyone else gets captured after that because Gaito wants all of the pearls, because basically the premise is the Queen of the Sea imbued each of the pearls with parts of her power, And the more princesses that gather together, the more powerful they become. And then when all 7 are together, it summons the queen, and then her power and stuff. But what you don't realise is she lost a lot of her power when she quelled an uprising from the Pantalasses. It's the Gaitos people, before, like, way before the beginning of the story anyway. And that she's currently waiting on her replacement. And in the manga, you find out who that replacement is. It's never confirmed in the show. And it's kind of left out, like, it's there that she lost her power and that she's trying to regain her power. But in the manga, it's I've lost my power and I've been waiting for my replacement. But not so much in the show. So yeah, the songs are really catchy, actually. It's like, da, da, da. I'm not going to sing them because I don't want to get copyrighted. And I'm not going to play clips of them because I'm afraid of getting copyrighted because I don't know the copyright laws and stuff. But no, all the songs are really cool. Each mermaid has their own individual song. Bar Noelle and Coco, we never hear theirs. They're only ever singing along with the others. So Lucia has her own song. Hanon has her own song. We hear all bar Noelle and Coco's in the show. Everyone, like, so basically the way it is each princess has her own song, and then they get group songs, and every time they power up they get a new group song from, like, the queen, and then they also get new outfits. So they start off in these outfits, and then they get a special bracelet that then gives them these outfits for the second half of the show. You know, your typical magical girl show, you know, as they power up and stuff, they get new frills. Actually, it really reminds me of other shows that I quite like Full Moon wo Sagashite and Kamikaze Phantom Jaune. Like, the art style is very, very similar. Not the same artist and not the same mangaka kind of thing, but very similar art styles, and I'm kind of drawn to that art style. So, I mean, maybe that was part of also what drew me in. So yeah, like, all the songs are really good. I loved the Spanish translation because they translated all of the songs, like the opening and the ending titles as well were translated. All of the songs inside of the show were translated as well, and it was easy language that you could follow along with. So even if you had no clue what was going along, because in the beginning I knew nothing. I knew nothing, and I'm killing myself through talking again. So yeah, basically, easy language, and you could so the way it worked for me originally in the beginning was I knew a few words of Spanish, but I didn't know a lot. And it was actually the actions in the show and watching them do things, and I was like, oh, is that this? And then when I'd go back to my Spanish teacher the next week or whatever, I'd be like, these words, is this it? And she would be like, oh yeah, that's good deduction. Or no, that doesn't mean that. This means this. And you're like, oh, okay, but this was the context. She's like, oh yeah, I can see why you would misinterpret that. So yeah, it was great for that. And yeah, ever since then, whenever I watch shows now in a foreign language, I'm like, is this easy to learn the language from? Can I pick up the odd word from this? Is it going to be, you know, a good show? And sometimes I just watch things and I like switch off entirely and I just enjoy it, or I put the subtitles on. But you know, sometimes when I'm in the mood, I like to learn language through like watching shows. And one of the easiest things, especially with anime, is that like when they dub it, there's no pre-existing mouth movement. So like now as I'm talking, you can see how my mouth is moving. But if I was then to put an audio track over the top of me speaking in a foreign language, you could still kind of try and read my lips for what I was originally saying, which really threw me off with watching like NCIS and stuff dubbed into Spanish, because I already knew what they were saying, and I was trying to read their mouth movements instead of listening to the Spanish. So again, the anime dubs were great for that, and like telenovelas, definitely watch those, they're really fun. So yeah, like with Mermaid Melody, Naruto and stuff, you couldn't read the mouth movements, so you had to listen to the words and you had to try and absorb what was going on and figure it out. And then as I learned more Spanish, it became easier and easier for me to watch things. But yeah, Mermaid Melody, it was one of my favourites for just learning, because it was teenage girls and young girls talking about young girls thing life, and being in school as well. It really did help with my language, for being able to hear what people were saying to me and try and respond a little bit back with the Spanish that I'd learnt through watching the shows. And I kind of cemented. I used to love running home to watch Mermaid Melody. It was on at like 3:30, 4:45, and was it 3:30? Was it 2? No, it was 2 at the weekends, and then it was like 3 o'clock on the weekdays, and then it was followed by Winx Club. Magical girl shows, I tell you. So yeah, it was such a good show. I really liked the show as well, like for itself. And then I learned that there was a manga, and I went and read the manga online, and the translation wasn't great, and it was missing like 3 of the volumes. So like, there's only 7 volumes of it, and 3 of them weren't translated online, so I was a bit like, eh. And now I have them, and I'm slowly reading them, and I will make a video on that once I finish them all, which could take me forever. I'm terribly slow when it comes to reading Japanese, but you know, it's a work in progress, and at least I can say now that I am slowly able to read each, like, so far I'm read like the first chapter, and I only needed to Google Translate like 3 kanji. That was it. Just 3 kanji, and that was it. The rest of it I knew. And like, I was like really proud of myself for being able to read it and understand what was going on. So I'm like, slowly I am making progress in my language learning. But yeah, Mermaid Melody. It's in Spanish, it's in Italian, and it's definitely in Japanese. So if you think that you know a person who likes magical girl stuff that would be into it, or if you yourself know someone who is a teenage-ish girl or preteen who would like it, I would definitely recommend for them. There's romance, there's action, there's friendship, there's, you know, family. It's really good. So yeah, definitely go and give Mermaid Melody a go if it sounds like it ticks your boxes. I'm definitely guessing that it's not going to tick everybody's boxes, because like I said, a magical girl show, and it is very cute girls do cute things. I'm looking at you, Gigok. It definitely wouldn't appeal to him. But yeah, watch it, or if you've already seen it, tell me what you think of it down below, and yeah, discuss. Let's see what you think about it in the comment section down below. But other than that, my kittens, I'm probably going to leave it there for tonight. I am sending you all of my love and reminding you again to eat something, drink something, and don't forget any medications if you're on them. Love you all, my dears. See you in the next one. Ciao!